Okay, imagine this. You're stepping back, way back, under this huge, bright, full moon in ancient India.
Hmm.
And there's this gathering of monastics listening really closely while a teacher and a student have this incredibly deep conversation.
Yeah, and it's not just some old story, right? It's about us, about our minds, how we experience everything. And honestly, it still feels completely relevant now.
Totally. And for this deep dive today, we're digging into a really foundational text, the Mahāpuṇṇamasuttaṃ. It's often called the Great Full Moon Discourse.
That's the one. And our goal really is to unpack the questions that monastic asked and the brilliant answers that came back. It's like a shortcut to understanding how we build our reality, how we relate to it.
Especially how we build that sense of me,
Exactly. It tackles that head on.
So if you've ever wondered about how you see yourself, or maybe you're looking for a way to, I don't know, step back from some of the usual mental loops, this should be really interesting. Let's jump in. So the whole thing starts with a bhikkhu, a monastic, asking this very direct question. What are these 5 aggregates of clinging? Now, the 5 aggregates themselves might ring a bell for some listeners.
Right. They're pretty core concepts.
But it's that clinging part that this discourse really zooms in on, isn't it?
It really is. The teacher lays them out, the ones many will know, but right away frames them by how we cling to them. So the 5 are, first, form or rupa.
Okay, form. That's like our body, physical stuff.
Yeah, your body, but also any external objects, anything material. If you can see it, touch it, perceive it physically, that's form.
Got it. What's next?
Second is feeling, vedana. Simple enough, pleasant, unpleasant, or just neutral sensation.
Like warmth or an ache or just nothing much.
Exactly. That feeling when you take a sip of coffee or stub your toe or just sit quietly. All feelings.
Oh, third.
Third, perception, sanya. This is how we recognize things, put labels on them. It's our conceptualizing mind.
So seeing this microphone and knowing that's a microphone.
Precisely. Or hearing a sound and identifying it as, say, a car horn. Recognition, labeling. Then fourth, and this is a big one, volitional formations, or sometimes mental fabrications, sakkara.
That sounds complex.
It covers a lot, basically all our mental activities.
Yep.
Intentions, thoughts that pop up, habits, biases, those little pushes and pulls that drive our actions. The active constructing part of our inner world.
Okay, so the mental chatter, the plans, the urges.
All of that. And finally, fifth is consciousness, vijnana. This is awareness itself.
Just being aware.
Yeah, awareness of things. Awareness of sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, and awareness of our own thoughts and feelings. The basic knowing that something is present.
Right. But the really striking thing you said is it's not just a list. It immediately asks why they're called aggregates of clinging. What's the punchline there?
That's the absolute key. The text says these aggregates are rooted in desire chandamulaka. And it gets even more specific. Clinging, vedana, isn't the aggregate itself. Like the feeling isn't the clinging. And clinging isn't something totally separate either. It is the desire passion, the shandarago for those aggregates.
Okay, so it's not my body itself that's the problem, but maybe my intense wanting for my body to look a certain way, or my fear of it aging. That's the clinging.
You got it. That's the desire passion for form causing the stress. Or, not the pleasant feeling itself, but the desperate craving for it to last forever.
Or wanting an unpleasant feeling to just stop right now.
Exactly that. That's the clinging part, the shandarago. And it can show up in different ways, like the text mentions wishing to be a certain form in the future or have certain feelings or be seen a certain way.
I want to be successful. I want everyone to like me. I wish I felt happy all the time.
That's it. That's the desire passion for the aggregates manifesting.
Okay, so we have the 5, and we know that clinging is about that desire passion for them. But then the text really hammers home how vast these categories are, right? It talks about past, future, internal, external. Why is that important?
It's crucial because it stops us from thinking this is just my little personal experience right now. It shows these are universal ways experience is structured.
Yeah.
The discourse says each aggregate includes anything whatsoever of that type. So form isn't just your body now, but any form, past, future, present, inside you, outside, big, small, subtle, gross, far away, nearby. Same for feelings, perceptions, formations, consciousness.
Wow, so it's a completely comprehensive map of, well, everything we could possibly experience.
It covers all bases. It's not just your fleeting thought, but the entire potential range of mental activity.
Which naturally leads to the next question. Where do these things come from? If they're the building blocks, what causes them to, show up?
Right, the origins. The text gives specific causes and conditions. For form, the physical stuff, it points to the four great elements, Kataro
The
Mahabhuta.
classic elements, like earth, water, fire, air.
Sort of, but it's more about their qualities. Solidity, fluidity, heat, and motion. These are seen as the underlying qualities that make up anything physical. It's a way of analyzing the material world down to basic sensory qualities.
Okay. And the mental ones. Feeling, perception, formations.
For those three, feeling, perception, and volitional formations, the cause is given as contact, phaso.
Contact.
Yeah, the coming together of three things. A sense
Yeah.
organ, like your eye, a sense object, like a color, and the consciousness associated with that sense, visual consciousness. When those three meet, phaso contact happens, and that triggers feeling, perception, and mental activity related to it.
So my feeling of warmth happens because there's heat, my skin, and my awareness of the heat touching my skin. It's an event.
Exactly. It's not just one thing, it's the meeting. And then for consciousness itself, the cause is given as name and form, namarupa.
Name and form. That sounds a bit abstract.
It's a really important concept. Name, nama, refers to the mental side, feeling, perception, intention, contact, attention, basically the non-physical aggregates. And form, rupa, is the physical body, the material basis.
So consciousness needs both the mental stuff and the physical body to arise.
That's the idea. They're interdependent. Consciousness can't arise without the mental factors in the physical base, and the mental physical organism can't function without consciousness. Like, two sheaves of reeds leaning against each other.
They support each other. Wow. Okay. That really shows how interconnected it all is.
Deeply interconnected. Nothing arises on its own.
And understanding all this brings us right to that core issue. How we build this sense of me, this identity view or sakkayaditthi. How does this apparently solid self emerge from these constantly changing dependent parts?
Well, the discourse explains it arises in the untaught, ordinary person, someone who hasn't really investigated this deeply. They naturally latch onto these aggregates and identify with them.
In what way?
It happens in four specific ways for each of the five aggregates. You might see the aggregate as self, this body is me.
Right.
Or you might see the self as having the aggregate, I have these feelings. Or you might locate the aggregate in the self, my thoughts are inside me. Or finally, you see the self in the aggregate, I exist within this consciousness.
Oh, I can totally see that. We do that constantly. I am a writer. I'm anxious. I have a sharp mind. My pain is in my back. We define ourselves by these things.
Exactly. We build our identity around them. And the text contrasts this with the taught noble disciple. Someone who understands these teachings learns not to identify in those four ways.
They see the body, but don't think, this is me or this is mine.
Precisely. They see the feeling arise, but don't automatically think, I am this feeling or this feeling is mine. It's a shift from identification to observation. And that non-identification is presented as absolutely key for ending suffering.
That feels like a huge leap, though, going from I am angry to just seeing anger as present.
It is a profound shift. And the discourse offers a very practical way to work with this threefold analysis: gratification, danger, and escape.
Okay, how does that work? Like a checklist for each aggregate?
Sort of, yeah. For each of the five, form, feeling, perception, formations, consciousness, it systematically asks, what's the gratification? Kalasada. What's the danger?
Okay.
And what's the escape? Nisarna.
Okay, break that down. Gratification.
That's the pleasure, the happiness, the enjoyment we get that depends on that aggregate. The pleasure of seeing something beautiful, form, the comfort of a pleasant feeling, the satisfaction of understanding something, perception formations, the simple joy of being aware, consciousness.
Makes sense. We like those things. So what's the danger?
The danger is their fundamental nature. They are impermanent, anicca, inherently unsatisfactory or stressful, dukkha, and always subject to change.
Repair them.
So the beautiful sight fades, the nice feeling ends, the understanding might be challenged, consciousness flickers. Exactly. The danger is expecting permanence and stability from things that are inherently unstable and changing. That mismatch between expectation and reality is where the suffering, the dukkha, comes in.
So we chase the gratification, ignore the danger, and end up disappointed or stressed.
That's often the pattern. And so the escape is the subjugation and abandonment of desire passion, chandraga vinaya, chandraga pana, for that aggregate. It's seeing the gratification, seeing the danger clearly, and then letting go of that intense craving, that clinging, that Chandrago.
Not getting rid of feelings or thoughts, but letting go of the demand for them to be a certain way or to last forever.
Precisely. It's releasing the attachment.
That's a really powerful framework for looking at our experience, but still incredibly challenging to actually do.
I don't know.
How does the discourse guide us further towards actually letting go of that deep I and mind sense?
It goes right to the heart of it. It points to the core practice for rooting out what it calls I-making, ahalakara, and my-making, mamakara, and even the subtle underlying tendency towards conceit, mananusai.
Okay, so getting rid of not just the obvious, this is me, but the subtle background hum of self-importance or self-reference.
Exactly. The practice is about developing right wisdom to see all forms, all feelings, perceptions, formations, consciousness, remember, past, present, future, internal, external, gross, subtle, etc., and seeing them clearly as, this is not mine. I am not this. This is not myself.
That phrase comes up a lot.
It's central.
Yeah.
And it's not just repeating words. It's a deep seeing, a lived understanding that penetrates the illusion of a fixed, independent self tied to these changing aggregates. Imagine really living from that space without the constant filter of my body, my opinion, my feelings.
That sounds incredibly freeing, but also maybe a bit scary. It brings up that question again, which apparently someone right there in that gathering also had.
Yes, exactly. Even after all this explanation, one bhikkhu had this very critical thought, a really common sticking point. Okay, if form, feeling, perception, formations, and consciousness are not self, then how can actions done by not self affect the self?
Right. If there's no me doing the action, who experiences the result? If I'm not my body or mind, how does what my body or mind does impact, well, whatever is left?
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the Buddha, sensing this doubt in the bhikkhu's mind, addresses it very skillfully. He doesn't give a complex philosophical answer about karma mechanisms right then.
What does he do?
He brings it back to direct experience and the path they've just explored. He asks the assembly again, reinforcing the previous points. What do you think, bhikkhus, is form permanent or impermanent?
And they reply,
Impermanent, venerable sir.
okay.
And that which is impermanent, is it suffering or happiness?
Suffering, venerables.
And that which is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change, is it fitting to regard that as, this is mine, I am this is myself?
And the answer has to be
No, venerable sir. He does this for all 5 aggregates.
so he's not directly answering the who experiences karma question in that moment, but redirecting them to see that whatever process is occurring, identifying with the changing aggregates as self, is inappropriate and the source of the problem.
Exactly. By thoroughly understanding the impermanent, unsatisfactory nature of the aggregates, the basis for clinging to them as self or mine dissolves. And it's that clinging, that identification, which fuels the cycle of action and result in a way that causes suffering.
So the result of this deep seeing, this clear understanding, is what the text calls becoming disenchanted, nibbindhati, with all the aggregates.
Yes, disenchanted not in a negative, depressed way, but in the sense of no longer being charmed or fooled by them, seeing them for what they are.
And this disenchantment leads.
It leads to dispassion, virajati, the fading away of that desire passion, and dispassion leads directly to liberation, vimukhati, freedom.
And in that freedom,
The knowledge arises. It's liberated. And the understanding dawns. Birth is destroyed. The holy life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There's no more coming back to any state of being. The full realization of release.
Wow, that's profound. And the text says this wasn't just theoretical for those listening under the full moon.
Not at all. The discourse concludes by stating that while the Buddha was giving this explanation, the minds of 60 bhikkhus were freed from the taints, liberated through non-clinging, right then and there.
Just by hearing and deeply understanding this teaching, that really shows the transformative power packed into this discourse.
It really does.
So that really brings our deep dive into the Mahāpuṇṇamasuttaṃ full circle. We've gone from identifying these 5 aggregates: form, feeling, perception, mental formations, consciousness, to seeing how our desire passion for them creates clinging.
And how seeing their true nature, impermanent, unsatisfactory, not self, is the path to letting go of that clinging, leading all the way to liberation.
The core takeaway feels like that constant, often unconscious identification with these changing parts of our experience is the root of so much struggle.
It is. Releasing that identification is where the freedom lies.
So, maybe a thought to leave everyone with.
Yeah.
If your sense of you is built on these constantly shifting sands, these impermanent aggregates. What does it really mean to be you?
Yeah, and how could really integrating this understanding, not just intellectually, but feeling it maybe start to free you up from things like anxiety about how you look or getting hooked by pleasant feelings or fighting unpleasant ones?
What might it actually feel like, day to day, to live with even a little bit more of that non-attachment, that non-identification?
Maybe something to reflect on. Your own relationship with your body, your feelings as they come and go, the labels you put on things, the thoughts that run through your head, and just your awareness itself. How tightly are you holding on?
Great questions to ponder. Thanks for exploring this with us today.